Hey, Pastor Ray Barnett here with you. Glad that you could be with me here on the Oasis. And as always, I wish you a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this broadcast. Another beautiful day here in upstate New York. We have had 4 days altogether with not one single cloud in the sky, not even one. Tomorrow's supposed to rain, so we'll just see how it goes from there as far as this broadcast is concerned. But beautiful weather. Oh, you know what? I was sitting here. You really can't see where I usually sit. Let me just show you real quick. Sit back here till I'm ready to do the broadcast. Here is better than the one I just showed you. But sitting there the other day, there's some leaves on the ground, so you could hear when people are, walking up to you. It happened to me the other day. Some guy literally just came out of the water like a Navy SEAL, except he wasn't a Navy SEAL. Still not sure how he got out of there, but it kind of spooked me. So I hear these steps behind me, and I figured just somebody's coming along going for a walk, but very close to me, and my back. I always like to sit with my back to a wall or something where I can see everything. Anyway, I turned around eventually to see this person get really close to me, and it wasn't a human being. It was a deer. I mean, 3 feet away from me. Eagles the other day, deer walking around, and just beautiful being in God's nature here in upstate New York. Let me address this subject today, which the topic will be, and the title will be, how to stop a panic attack. Now, I don't have, again, these videos. I try to do them as short as I can to hold your attention. So I don't have the time to go through all the dynamics of panic and panic attacks. But I have to leave that up to you, because so many of you are or had experience with panic attacks. I've often told people, if I ask them, have you ever had a panic attack? And somebody says no. I said, man, you ought to have at least one in your lifetime. It's a real delight. And those of you who are prone to panic attacks, which is what I want to address today, you may get the humor of that, maybe not. All right, panic attack. First thing you want to think about, which is a reasonable suggestion, is in order to stop a panic attack, best thing you can do is prepare yourself that it never starts. So let's go over just a little bit here for the new subscribers, and as a reminder for the rest of you. These muscles here, we know them as skeletal muscles: biceps, triceps, pectorals, abdominals, external obliques, iliopsoas muscle, which, by the way, attaches the upper body to the lower body, your quads, the femoral bicep or the hamstring, and on and on. They get tight. They put pressure on the nervous system. If you've had issues with anxiety for years, you won't even know how tight your muscles actually are, because you're so used to living with the tension that's in your body. And if you want to know if your muscles are tense or not, here's one of the best things that you can do: stretch. Do some stretching exercises. Doesn't have to be anything exotic, just regular stretches you did in high school or cheerleading or football or whatever, and you'll feel the tension. So you'll know, like the quads, they're huge muscles, big muscle, 4 of them, vastus muscles, and they get tight. Mine are tight. And the gluteus maximus, it's large. These are large muscles. Start stretching them, and you're going to find out whether you're loose or you're tight. And more than likely, when you start stretching, you're going to find out right away if you're very tight or just exactly where you're tight. Some muscles, they'll stretch pretty easily, others not so much. Shoulders. Okay, so the best thing to do, that's how you can test to see how much tension's in your body, just start stretching, which is a good idea to do every day, by the way, with the deep breathing that we talked about. So if you're living with tension in your muscles for year after year, you won't even realize how tense your muscles can be. I remember I had a man in my church some years ago who had many decades of schizophrenia. He was on very heavy medication. I remember touching him on his back just to say hi, and I'm telling you, it felt like a piece of wood. I mean, he was so tight. A lot of that had to do with his condition, of course, but his medications as well. Anyway, he had so much tension in his muscles that he couldn't possibly have been aware of it. Many of you are not. So the first thing I'm going to say is that if you want to stop a panic attack, do what is required to not let one start. Make sure your body is relaxed. Make sure your lifestyle, whatever it may be, and life is getting very stressful for everybody, make sure that you're always in a relaxed position all the time. Try to be conscious of it. Try to be conscious of the stress that's building up in your body, the tension on the nervous system from these skeletal muscles causes the nervous system to begin to become, let's say, unstable, and then you're going to have symptoms. It's a very simple concept, and it's true. All right. What's not so simple is getting rid of it once it begins. So you want to be able to stretch, do deep breathing, control your thoughts, keep them, well, for lack of a better term, keep them positive, meditate in the scriptures, look at the Psalms, look at the promises of God, and so on, to keep yourself in a steady state of calmness. Not easy to do, but that's the goal of this channel. Give yourself a steady state, or put yourself in a steady state. I mean, you're that way all the time, just relaxed. So that when tension and stress comes, the body can absorb it better than you being tense all the time. And, symptoms are going to come much more rapidly, and even trigger symptoms, which means they're going to come seemingly out of nowhere. Number one is prevention, so that you don't even get to the point of having a panic attack. Sometimes panic attacks, secondly, can seem like they come out of nowhere. Just driving. I knew a woman was driving her car, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you feel this danger signal going off in the brain, the racing thoughts, the sweaty palms, just seemingly out of nowhere. But as I told her then, I'm telling you now, it didn't really come out of nowhere. It had been building up for some time. She just wasn't aware of it. Okay, what do you do when a panicky feeling or a panic attack is already in progress? First thing, absolute most important thing, is to eliminate the thought of danger from your brain. Remember, that's a false signal being sent from the body to the brain. If the brain accepts it, if you accept it, and send that signal back down that, yeah, we're in danger, you get more tense, symptoms increase, new symptoms appear, and it's not a happy picture. Then you wind up rushing yourself to the emergency room, or calling the doctor, or calling friends, or getting hysterical. A lot of things accompany a panic attack. So you're starting to feel panicky. Deep breathing, that's a must. But the main thing is to keep the thought of danger out of your mind. In other words, you want to be able to say to yourself, okay, I'm starting to feel a little panicky here, and I have to remind myself there's no real, I'm not in any danger. That's a signal that's going to the brain. It's very important that you understand that. The signal going from the body to the brain is that there's some danger when there is no danger. I explained that yesterday on the broadcast. The difference between real danger and a false signal. So a panic attack is giving you a false signal from the body going to the brain. You must, through an act of your will, put a lot of fortitude, and it's going to take time. Remember, you're not going to succeed first, second, third, fourth, fifth trial if you're new to this. Those of you who've been with me for a while and you've been training, as some of you absolutely are making great progress, you understand the concept. Oh, let me mention this too, by the way. Setbacks, they come for everybody. Just be careful that when the setback comes, you're prepared for it. And you say, well, Pastor Ray talked about the setback. Many books do. Teachers, counselors talk about it. That when it comes, you're prepared for it, meaning you understood it was going to happen. If you're prepared for it, then the setback will be mild, maybe last just a few minutes or a few hours, rather than getting hysterical. I thought these symptoms were gone. I thought I had it conquered. Months went by, maybe years went by before since you had your last panic attack, and there you are, all of a sudden in the midst of it. How do you stop it? You got to eliminate the thought and the idea of danger from your brain. If you do that, you detach. Let me say it to you this way: you cannot control the feelings that go on in your body. The body's working all the time. There's something that physiologists recognize as a sensation pulse that comes from the body, a lot like the heart is constantly beating and there's a pulse. Well, the body does the same thing. It's always going through various sensations, and you have a kind of a pulse in the body, not just the heart. And what you must do is to detach the thought of danger. You must be convinced. Now, this is important. You must be convinced that there is no real danger, no matter how you feel, no matter how distressing it may be. There isn't any real danger to your health, mental or otherwise. There's no real danger. Now, let me say this to you also. It's not enough just to say, oh yeah, I get it. You have to actually know it. And the only way you're going to know it is through practice, the training that I talk about. You have to do it again and again and again and again. Fail once, twice, 5 times, then all of a sudden you have a victory, and then another victory, and then they start to add up, and then your experience teaches you there isn't any real danger. I want to help you with this by telling you that at this stage of my life, after all these years, I still have what I'm telling you. Not so much panic attacks, but the feeling, the distress that's in my body. Now I know I haven't been aware of the stress building up in my life, and now I'm getting symptoms. What spares me from getting hysterical, of course, is experience, but it's the knowledge that there isn't any real danger. Palpitations when they're nervous in origin, no danger to your heart. Stomach is bothering you, no danger to your health if it's nervous. So that's a key thing. I mean, it's really the key thing. Eliminate the thought of danger from your mind. What will happen once you, well, let me just finish this other thought. You can't control the sensations that are in your body. Your body's just going to do whatever it's doing. But you can and must control your thoughts. That's completely under your power. So you detach the thought of danger, and then it's kind of like a car. If you take your foot off the gas but don't step on the brake, the car is going to still keep moving, but eventually it will come to a stop. Just depends on how long. Flat surface, you're going downhill. So when you detach the thought of danger from your brain, the symptom will continue. But since you're convinced there is no danger, you're rejecting that thought, then the body will eventually just slow down, calm down. The brain is sending a signal now back to the body saying there's no danger, and the body starts to calm down. The panic cycle is broken. Now, there's other little things I could tell you, but I think I'm going to leave it with that, because that's really the essence of both anxiety and a panic attack. Eliminate the thought of danger from the brain. And again, you can't just recite it, saying, well, I know there's no danger. I know there's no danger. I know there's no danger. That's not enough. You have to be convinced that there really isn't any danger, that you're not in danger. So, yeah, I could share some other things with you, but like I said, I try to keep these broadcasts short so as not to wear you down, wear you out, or lose your attention. 2 things I gave to you today. Number 1, prevent yourself from having a panic attack by staying calm all the time. I always say to you on not every broadcast, but a lot, it's easier said than done, but it must be done. That hard work must be done. Keep yourself in a relaxed position. You'll never get to the place of a panic attack. But if you are there, when you're there, and if you're there, take your will, exercise it, and throw that thought of danger out of the mind. out of the brain, out of the mind. And then the body will say, okay, central management is here, and it's sending a signal down saying, there's no danger, guys, so let's just relax. Let me say it one more time before I pray for you. These are simple lessons, not easy, so you have my sympathy on that. I'm very experienced at what I'm talking about. Simple but not easy, but it must be done. And you can break the cycle of panic in your life by receiving the peace of Christ, the way I sign off, and I will sign off on this broadcast today. Two things. Prevent one from happening by the little information that I gave you. Practice it. And if you're in a panic cycle, remove the thought of danger. It's going to be stubborn because habits are stubborn. You do it, you'll find you'll have success. You'll break the panic once, twice, 6, 12, a dozen times, 24 times. You're on your way to being free. So let me pray for you today. Father, just pray for my friends once again that they would be able to stop panic attacks when they happen, but more importantly, to be able to prevent them from happening at all. Give them that peace of Christ I pray for every day. Let them have it today, right now, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, like I said, tomorrow I think it's going to rain, so I'll figure out how to get a video up for you somewhere dry. If you're new to this channel, want to subscribe, want information on mental health and panic and anxiety and depression, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. Don't forget to share them. I thank you for those of you who are telling me that you've been sharing them. There's tons of people. This Aaron Carter, this young guy, the musician that just died. It's more and more awareness is coming to people about mental health. So certainly he had mental health issues, sad. But anyway, share them with people, because many people are getting desperate, and then desperate for relief and for peace, which can only be found, permanently found, in Christ. As always, I remind you to let the peace of Christ rule in your heart, and make sure that it does, so that you don't have any more panic in your life. God willing, I'll see you here again tomorrow on the Oasis.